I'm sorry because the rest of us all pray that no one else ever joins our Line of Duty Widow Club.
Heartache and pain.
When you are ready, we'll wear our hair in messy buns and put on our late husband's sweats. And we'll come with coffee or wine or chocolate, and we will sit with you. And we will listen, and we will cry with you.
A widow to a fallen officer knows just how tough the coming days and weeks will be for Eric Talley's family.
Grief is so ugly. It's so messy. It's complicated. It's confusing.
And tonight, she's hoping her story brings peace and healing during such a difficult time.
My heart is breaking in so many different places at one time that it's hard to really process it all.
And as the community processes this tragedy,
I have a hard time seeing going back to normal.
Coloradans are showing their true colors.
I hope that it shows that we're here for each other.
Coming together to make sure nobody feels like they're grieving alone. It is a fear for so many law enforcement families, a day when their loved one will go to work and then never make it home. And that fear became a reality this week for the family of Officer Eric Talley.
And sadly, he is not the first Coloradan to lose his life in the line of duty. But for the families who have endured this pain before, they want the Talley family to know they're not alone.
Denver7's Megan Lopez spoke with the widow of El Paso County Sheriff's Deputy Micah Flick, who shares her story.
Dear Mrs. Eric Talley, we haven't met yet. I'm certain one day we will, and I am sorry for that.
Call it a club.
We know almost better than anyone the knock at your door, how your world will be forever changed.
A community no one wants to be a member of. But when your loved one is in law enforcement, loss is always a possibility.
I'm Rachel Flick. I'm a mom. I have twin 10-year-olds.
Rachel Flick's husband, Micah, was an El Paso County Sheriff's deputy.
On February 5th, 2018, he was on an undercover operation for auto theft. He was killed. My whole world fell apart right there.
In the days and the weeks after, Rachel was overwhelmed. A funeral, a flood of phone calls, gifts, tributes, and in it all, grief.
There was numbers being given to me, Natalie Jensen, Rachel Swayze.
Wives of other Colorado officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Several of the widows were in my home probably 3 to 4 days after the funeral. And I just remember, that's gonna make me cry. Just the softness and the compassion of their empathy. It was almost supernaturally healing just to be in that space with women that I could look into their eyes and know that they knew my story.
Her pain was their pain, and together they cried and laughed and screamed and coped.
The thing that I saw from widows who had come through and were further along in their grief journey was, I can do this.
3 years after losing Micah,
welcome to this week's episode of the Hopecast.
Rachel has started a podcast to help others cope with grief.
I wanted to be able to give people a model for resilience.
Now she's paying it forward, writing an open letter to the wife of Officer Eric Talley, who was killed in Monday's shooting in Boulder.
When you are ready, we'll wear our hair in messy buns and put on our late husband's sweats. And we'll come with coffee or wine or chocolate, and we will sit with you. And we will listen.
This is a community no law enforcement wife wants to be a part of.
You and your children are not alone.
But it is a sisterhood, a family for those who have lost theirs.
Love, Mrs. Micah Flick and your new forever friends, the Colorado Thin Blue Line Widows.
Megan Lopez, Denver7.
Wow. We do know these law enforcement families have so much support. And the nonprofit Tunnels to Towers announced they're going to help pay off the rest of the Talley family mortgage. They vowed to do it by Easter Sunday. The foundation is hoping this is just one less thing that family has to worry about right now. And in the statement they write, Officer Talley did not know what he would face inside that supermarket, but he didn't hesitate to rush in. He gave up his life trying to save the lives of strangers. That nonprofit was founded, by the way, after 9/11 to honor first responders, veterans, and their families. And Officer Talley's funeral service is Tuesday at Flatirons Community Church in Lafayette, and we will be there. And you're encouraged to watch with us virtually to pay your respects. We're going to have special coverage of the procession about 10 o'clock in the morning, live coverage of the funeral, which begins at 11 a.m. So tune in on air, online, or your streaming device of choice.
And people from all walks of life continue to pay their respects at the memorial outside the Boulder King Supers. And businesses in the area are trying to find ways to heal too.
Some hid shoppers who ran to safety, and now they want the community to know they stand with all of us. Denver7's Patrick Perez live tonight with that. Patrick?
Yeah, Shannon, expect to see signs like these on businesses here in Boulder, especially the ones that are this close to the King Supers. We're right across from that grocery store. Of course, the message they're trying to send here is Boulder strong, especially after what happened here on Monday. It really impacted these employees because of how close they are to that King Supers, and now they're using this tragedy to bring everyone even closer.
It's hard to put into words what happened Monday in Boulder.
My heart is breaking in so many different places at one time that it's hard to really process it all.
For years, Abo's Pizza South has been the place to get a good slice.
It is the local pizza shop. It is a pillar, in a sense, of the community.
Monday afternoon, it became a hiding place.
At one point, they were letting people in to shelter and then had to stop doing that because there was so much confusion based on the situation.
Like so many of us, owner Tyler Porritt has had a hard time processing his feelings.
Right now, I have a hard time seeing going back to normal. I don't accept that anymore. I can't keep seeing things like this. We need to change. We need to do something.
Tyler says it's the community's support that set off a chain reaction of kindness. When a mom and her 2 daughters dropped off flowers, it moved him to visit neighboring businesses and drop off some free pizza.
How this situation can just kind of send ripples throughout your entire life.
Tinker Art Studio is also giving back in the best way it knows how.
There's something really cathartic about making art.
Christy Hubley and her team started making these Boulder Strong signs Thursday afternoon.
It felt like something that was within our wheelhouse as an art studio, something we could give.
She's passed them out to businesses like Abo's and placed a bucket of them at the memorial for anyone who'd like one.
And I hope that it shows that we're here for each other, we're here together. And in particular, the businesses that were here for the community.
It will take time for this community to heal, but it's clear they will thanks to their collective strength and kindness. In Boulder, I'm Patrick Perez, Denver7.
Tomorrow, the city of Boulder is encouraging you to join a collective moment of silence for the victims, and you can do it from home.
The event is called 10 Together. At 8 p.m. tomorrow night, you're asked to step outside and take 10 slow breaths, followed by 10 minutes of silence. Each breath and each minute will honor the Coloradans we lost this week. You can also put a candle or light on your porch or in your front window.
And AT&T is opening its Text to Give program to make it easier for you to donate to the victims and survivors of this week's tragedy. So you can text the word Colorado to 20222. You can make a one-time donation of $20, and that money will go directly to the Colorado Healing Fund. The program's open to everyone, even those with different carriers like Verizon.
And tonight, the question we all want the answer to is why? Why that King Supers? Why on that day? Why was someone on a mission to kill? Well, today, Boulder DA Michael Dougherty says, unfortunately, we still don't have those answers, but he promised he will do everything he can to get them.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, their loved ones, and this community during the difficult time that we're all going through, and we are committed to ensuring that justice is done for each and every one of the victims and for their loved ones.
Boulder's police chief called the crime scene one of the most complex she has seen in her career. And the DA echoed that sentiment, saying they have an estimate as to how many rounds the suspect fired, but they aren't ready to disclose that information yet.
If you picture a supermarket, picture all the shelves, all the products, everything. They're going through every single shelf, pulling everything off the shelves, looking in the walls, and that is going to continue throughout the weekend. And once that crime scene is released, we'll be in a position to announce the number of bullets that were fired by the shooter in this case.
And today we also learned a Boulder police officer who exchanged gunfire with the suspect is on administrative leave, which is protocol for any officer involved in a shooting. That officer was not hurt. Now, the DA's office says the suspect will be charged with additional attempted murder charges in the coming weeks for the shots fired toward responding officers.
And tonight, the gun store that sold the suspect the gun he used in Monday's attack says they legally did so and that the suspect passed a background check. Here's Denver7's Jason Grenauer.
The arrest affidavit in this case shows that the suspect purchased the Ruger AR-556 semi-automatic pistol less than a week before the shooting back on March 16th, and he did so legally. Now, the weapon was bought from the Eagle's Nest Armory in Arvada, the same town where the suspect lived. According to the store, they conducted a background check and the suspect passed. That suspect had a prior criminal record. He was convicted of misdemeanor third-degree assault back in 2018, but that would not have prevented the sale. In a statement, the store says, "We are absolutely shocked by what happened and our hearts are broken for the victims and families that are left behind. Ensuring every sale that occurs at our shop is lawful has always been and will always remain the highest priority of our business." Investigators say the suspect was also carrying a 9mm pistol at the time of the shooting, but do not believe that gun was used in the shooting. Officials would not say today if he had a higher capacity magazine or how many shots were fired. Those are both part of the investigation moving forward. I'm Jason Grenauer, Denver7.
And all week long, we've been uncovering the stories of the Coloradans whose lives were tragically cut short, who they touched, and the legacy they leave behind. You can catch all of our coverage right now on thedenverchannel.com and on our Denver7 apps for Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.
Right now, snow is falling in parts of our state. This is our camera up at Lookout Mountain. Now, at lower elevations, it's rain we're seeing. Thankfully, though, it's just a quick burst of the spring weather.
Meteorologist Stacey Donaldson's here with a check on the radar. Stacey?
That's right. We have rain all along the Front Range. At this point, we have snow off to our west, and we are expecting this to move through as we head through the rest of tonight. And as our temperatures drop, they're still in the 40s now, but we'll see snow later on this evening as those temperatures drop to around freezing here for the metro area. Off to the west, still snow for the higher elevations and rain, even some lightning strikes across the eastern plains. But it does look like more spring-like weather is headed our way for the weekend. I'll have that forecast coming up.
All right, see you in a little bit. Thank you, Stacey. Tonight, a Colorado case on a national platform. Kelsey Schelling went missing in 2013, and her killer was convicted of murder, in fact, just this month. Well, ABC's 2020 is going in depth on the case with a 2-hour special tonight. The investigation will look at Kelsey's disappearance, the trial, and the ongoing search for answers. Her body's never been found. Denver7's Liz Gilardi has covered this extensively and talked with one of Kelsey's friends today who will be featured actually in tonight's broadcast, and her friend hopes Kelsey's story will save other lives.
I really feel like she was a voice for someone that, if anyone's in a situation where they're with somebody that, they don't feel is right for them or they feel is doing them any sort of harm, that it's okay to walk away.
2020 special begins right here on Denver7 at 8 o'clock.
A lot of families got laid off. A lot of families are working from home.
Coming back stronger than before.
I mean, this is our livelihood, and this is what I want to pass down to my daughter.
After a year of changes and obstacles, the governor is on a mission to make sure Colorado rebounds.
We are very optimistic about our store.
How he's making sure all Coloradans and businesses are taken care of.